Hey everybody, I wanted to take a few minutes to go through your first major writing assignment. So I am in our class. I'm going to click on Lessons and Lessons folder, and then I'm going to click on Writing Assignments, and then you can see only the first writing assignment folder, so just click on that. And then if you would click on the writing assignment, this is the assignment sheet. Okay, here we are. So for this first writing assignment, you're writing a positive message. I'll also prefer to refer to this message style as direct because you're not having to provide any kind of buffer for your audience. You're just telling your audience right up front what you want, exactly what you want. So no fluffing stuff, just get down to business. So you have a couple of options um, that you can write. So the first option is it says it's adapted from page 186, but I want you to follow mine here. Have you ever bought a product that did not work as promised? Have you been disappointed in the service, bank, restaurant, department store, or discount house, or from an online merchant? Have you had ideas about how a company or organization can improve its image, its services, or products? Remember that smart companies want to know what customers think, especially if they can improve their parts or services. So your couple of options here are you are complaining basically about a service that you received, or you are making suggestions for improvement at a company. And a lot of students who are currently working like to make suggestions and direct their letter to their boss and tell the boss what needs to be changed and why. So you're going to write um, your letter using the positive message approach. Write a claim letter requesting a refund, replacement, explanation, or whatever you think is reasonable. Or you can also, of course, discuss prospective changes that you would like to see. Okay? And it says to consider any proof that you would need to include. And of course, not really, but just for this letter. For our class, for example, most students write a letter of complaint complaining about something, either a product or a service, and if they're asking for a refund, then they need to provide a receipt. Now, you don't really give me a receipt. You just write in your letter, I have enclosed a copy of the receipt from the date or whatever. So you have to show proof. So think about that. If you're writing and you're asking for a replacement, if something is damaged or anything, you need to provide evidence of that damage or evidence that you maybe were billed but didn't receive anything. Um, so think about what would you have to prove to the recipient, would you need to give that recipient to prove that you did in fact purchase this product or it broke, maybe pictures. But in your letter, you're going to say, hey, I have enclosed pictures of my damaged microwave in the box or whatever. Anyway, so think about that. And again, you're not really going to give me an actual receipt or images. You're just going to say that in your paper. So your grade is you're going to have 3 grades for this paper, and I average all the grades together to get your final grade for the paper. The first one is your content and organization. Do you follow the required content and the required organization of number 1, this particular assignment, and number 2, the direct approach or the positive message approach? And then the next one is going to be your formatting. So are you using a full block format? And I give you examples. I provided examples, and of course you can see examples. Your book does not have a lot of great examples, but I did provide you examples in the folder. And the third comes from grammar and mechanics. So if you struggle with grammar and mechanics, then I suggest that you go ahead and get tutoring. And we have the Upswing tutoring. I can show you that very quickly here. I'm going to go back into our class for just a moment. If you scroll down here, you're going to see Upswing tutoring. If you click on that, then you can use, if it asks you for a password or whatever, you're going to use the same one that you use for your Blackboard. Okay, let's go back to this. Let's see here. So for grammar and mechanics, it should be correct. Obviously, you're representing yourself, and people look at you and your integrity and everything based on what you've written. So if you have written a paper, a letter that is full of mechanical and grammatical errors and it's not formatted nicely, then that's going to cause the recipient to take you less seriously. You won't. And when you write your next letter, you're representing a company. So you have to, of course, use correct formatting and then correct grammar and mechanics. It's all important. I do not pre-grade your work. So that's why I have this little area here, because some people think that they should be able to send a letter to me and I'm going to go over it and show them all that's wrong and then give it back and they can fix it and get a 100. But that's not how it works. I'm not your editor and I'm not your tutor. If you have a genuine problem with a formatting issue or whatever, please let me know. If you know, wonder if something is a comma splice or run-on sentence, then of course I would say go see a tutor. I would also make that appointment. So your paper is due, I think it's next week. It's not this week. So if you go ahead and make your appointment today for a couple of sessions for next week, you can write your paper this week and go see your tutor, meet your tutor online next week, and then the tutor can give you some suggestions for improvement or whatever, and then you can go and revise and then make one more appointment to see the tutor. So with the tutor, again, the tutor is not your editor either. So keep that in mind. Any questions that you have about formatting, please ask me. Any questions that you have about mechanics and grammar, please talk to your tutor. And I would suggest, and even content, the person who may be looking at your paper for mechanical and grammatical errors may not know about business writing and technical writing, may not have that experience. So really ask me if you're concerned or don't understand something about the content, meaning that your first paragraph starts off with the problem, the second paragraph tells your reader details, and the third paragraph closes with your telephone number and email address, both of which can be made up. You don't have to give me your real phone number and real personal email address. And this content and organization is just telling you exactly what you're supposed to do. So read the chapter for the positive message or whatever. Read that, but you're going to have 3 body paragraphs, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. Your basic formatting, you guys are using a full block format, and I've provided you a list of acceptable fonts. So you can use Arial, Georgia, Tahoma, Verdana, Times New Roman, Rockwell, and Ganducci. Only 11 or 12 point font. So please do not write huge fonts trying to fill up a page up. The purpose of business writing is not to try to fill up pages. People don't want to read all that. They're busy. So you just want to give them briefly what you want. Please don't try to go into deep details. I'll show you an example. The basic paragraphs that you're going to have, it says even in business writing, even in business writing, not just in 1101 essay writing, you have to pay attention to topic sentences and major minor details, just like you would in an essay. So I do have to grade your paper just as, it's a college class. So I'm grading your paper for all the details I told you above, and I've also given you a pre-submission checklist. So please pay attention to this. I wasn't able to put the little square boxes here, but please pay attention to this. Make sure that you follow this. I will tell you, if you can get a 100 in your formatting and a 100 in your content, and even if you make a bad, a lower grade in mechanics and grammar, then you can still do a passing grade on this writing assignment. But if you don't pay attention to formatting and content, then that's going to really damage your grade. So likewise, you could have a 100 in mechanics and grammar, but you could have a 20 or a 30 in your content and a 20 and 30 in your formatting, and that's gonna damage you. You're not going to be able to pass pass that particular assignment with only 100 in the mechanics and grammar. Okay, so I'm going to shrink this, and let's go back. I want to show you this sample full block business letter. So I have provided you with this business letter. Did I write this one? This may be my letter that I wrote. It is. I wrote this letter. I did not send it, but I did write it for class, so you guys would be able to see what to do here. So this is my address at the top. As the writer of this letter, this is called the return address. This is the sender. And then notice I have double spacing, I have the date, I have quadruple spacing, and then double space means that you press the enter key 2 times and you start writing on the second line. So you have one blank space. And then quadruple spacing means that you press the enter key 4 times and start writing on the 4th line. So you have 3 blank spaces. Okay, and this is called the inside address. So notice I have got the honorific title, Ms. Martha McCall, and then because writing her title would go beyond the middle point of the line, I put her title and I put the department, and then I put the name of the company. So it's Ms. Martha McCall, President, Customer Service. I do not write the word of. You don't say President of Customer Service. It's President, comma, Customer Service, comma, and then AT&T. I made this up, by the way. This is not legitimate. The problem was real, but I wrote it to just a made-up person. I made up the address and everything. So inside address, return address, date, inside address, and then this is my salutation, and I again have a double spacing, meaning I pressed the enter key twice after the zip code, and I started writing on the second line, and I have one blank space. So notice I've got the colon after, and I have a comma after my complimentary close. So this is my salutation, this is my complimentary close, and I have a colon here, a comma here. This is called mixed punctuation. If I wanted to do open punctuation, I would remove the colon after McCall and the comma after sincerely. But you cannot have a colon after McCall and no comma after sincerely, and you cannot have a comma after sincerely and nothing after McCall. You have to have either mixed or open. Okay? And then you have the introduction, and in this introduction, I'm just telling Ms. McCall the problem and what I want her to do. So you're talking about 2 or 3 sentences maximum in the introduction. I'm writing about a persistent problem I've experienced with my internet and DirecTV billing despite several phone calls trying to rectify the issue. Please separate my U-verse and DirecTV bills as they were prior to my adding the U-verse service. That's all. Do not go into a lot of detail about, I've been calling and calling. Don't say that. So you're just telling them what you need. This is the problem. This is what I want you to do for me. You do not write a buffer where you say, I've been using AT&T for a long time and I love this service. Don't do that. Just tell them, what do you want? This is my problem. This is what I want you to do for me. The second paragraph is where you justify your request. by giving details. What are the details? Why am I asking for her to separate my UVerse and DirecTV bills? I'm trying to justify that request in my next body paragraph. And notice this body paragraph is a little bit longer. Yours may not be as long depending on what the situation is. But I'm just telling right up front, that I added UVerse in October with a phone rep. And he was very helpful. He suggested that by combining, I'm showing why I even combined, because this person told me that combining would help me save a little bit of money. And I would receive just one bill, not two separate bills. And so I explained, thinking I wouldn't pay my DirecTV bill until I got my one single bill. I did not pay it. So I acknowledged that I made a mistake here. But then I go in and explain what happened. And I'm very brief, just say what you need. And then I say, thus, I would like to separate my account, DirecTV, this is my made-up account number, AT&T, made-up account number, so that I receive two different bills each month. And then I double space, again, press the enter key twice, start typing on the second line down below, and I say, thank you for your help. I look forward to receiving my two separate bills beginning, here's my date, April 2017. So I'm not saying ASAP. Do not use that phrasing. You give a by date. I need this completed or done or whatever by this date. If you have any questions or concerns, you may contact me on my cell phone, again made up, or email me at, again made up, and then I double space. I have my complimentary clothes, sincerely, and then my name. And notice my name is in a dark blue font, and the only font color option for you to use is right here on the font. I'm looking at the font section, little tiny arrow, and right here is the color. So you can also look at it right, let's see, here. This is probably easier, actually. If you just click on this little arrow, the little chevron beside A, and you're going to see standard colors. You're going to choose the standard dark blue, not one of these colors. This is the one to use. So business writing, if you were going to print this and sign it and put it in an envelope and send it off, you should use a dark blue ink pen to sign your name. Now, if you were sending this off as a letter in an envelope, you would need to press the the enter key after the comma at the complimentary close 4 times. That would give you quad spacing, meaning again you hit the enter key 4 times and start writing on the 4th line. So you have 3 blank spaces. Now, since we're not actually submitting this in an envelope and it's just an example, the purpose is to create the appearance of quad spacing, which is the same spacing you have between the date and the inside address. You want to give the appearance of quad spacing, even though you're not actually quad spacing. Because quad spacing is meant to give the writer room to sign the letter. So since we're not doing that, you're going to type your name and you're going to choose one of these signature fonts or a manuscript font. So you're actually looking for one that you like. You don't have to use the one that I use. I use Bradley Hand, but you can use any of these that are actual signatures. Now this is the deal. I want to show you the difference. I use Bradley Hand here. It gives me more space. It looks more like quad spacing, and I have it at a 26-point font. You can see up here, this is 26-point font. However, when I put it in the brush script, look how much smaller it is. So don't just go by the 26-point font that I use. It depends on the font itself. And what I like to do is kind of scroll this way so I can kind of see, okay, this is quad spacing and this needs to look like quad spacing. So I probably could have even made this a tiny bit bigger. Let's try a 28. And yeah, there we go. So that looks pretty nice. That looks probably more like quad spacing than the 26. But yeah, any one of these that you choose, you can manipulate. This one, I could probably make it a 30. Now, there's not a 30 here for me, but I can type in 30. So as long as you're making that appearance of quad spacing. And this font is supposed to give the appearance of a signature. And no one writes in a 12-point font. If I put this in a 12-point font or 11-point font, you can't see it. So please make sure that you are following these little guidelines here. And I'm going to go ahead and go back. Whoops, that's too big. Let me shrink this. And I want to show you the example that I posted without all of my instruction. I wanted you to be able to see something without all the instruction. Oh, my computer is going to be a little bit persnickety. Here it is. Okay, now. So now you can kind of see a little bit better. And one thing that I like to do is not the whole time I'm writing, but I like to go to the View feature in Microsoft Word and click on, whoops, I'm sorry, wrong thing. Well, you want to have your ruler turned on. Keep your ruler on all the time. So go to View and turn on your ruler. This lets you see, hey, I am at the 1-inch margin, you know, everything is looking good. So you definitely want to use your ruler. But I also like to go to the home and use this little sort of backwards P, like for paragraph. If you turn that on, you can see, and when I grade your papers, I turn it on because I can see immediately that you did do, you know, quad spacing, double spacing. I can see it immediately. I can see right here, you know, that this is replicating the quad spacing above. Now, one thing that, let me see, what was I going to say? I lost it for just a second. Oh yeah, one thing I want to show you very quickly, and I will post a separate video for you guys, but I want to show you how to make sure when you're writing your paper in Microsoft Word that you have only double and quad spacing as needed. So a default issue in Microsoft Word, or setting, I think of it as an issue. It's a very problem to me, a very big problem to me. But whenever you open up a new Microsoft Word document, unless you've set your computer differently, when you go to the paragraph section, you're going to see that it's going to say 0 before, and it will say something like 6 after. So I'm going to show you how that looks. I'm going to select my entire paper, and I'm going to go and put those default settings, the normal settings I see. And it'll be like 1.12 or whatever. Can I do it exactly, please? Okay, this is good enough. Okay, so click OK, and there you can see. Now, do I have manual double and quad spacing still? Yes, this little paragraph is turned on and I can see that I do have the correct manual spacing. However, I have incorrect vertical spacing, and that's a 10-point error, as you can see from your syllabus where I show you how much everything is worth. It's a 10-point error on your formatting. You don't want that. So the way that you correct that is I would go ahead and write your paper. After you write your paper, press Control A, and that will select your entire paper, and then go into on the home tab in the little paragraph section right here and make it say 0 before, 0 after, single space. Now every manual space is correct. It is perfectly quadruple space or double space. Okay, so make sure that you're not revising my letter to make it your letter. It needs to be your letter. So whenever I grade your paper, I actually can see that you are the author of that paper. So let me see if I can look at Um, File, let's see. No, that's not where I want to go. I want to try to find, oh, I guess right over here. Yeah, this is good. I'm sorry. You see right here, author, it's got my name. My name should not be there. So I don't want you to take out all my stuff and just use my document. I want you to create a document of your own and apply the rules so that you know how to apply or you know how to format a full block business letter on your own without having to use my paper as a template. And also make up your own situation. Don't use my scenario with AT&T. I had somebody last semester who just used my scenario but changed one of the problems, like it was AT&T and whatever, something else, some other kind of problem. But it was basically my letter, just with some few different details. So make sure that you're writing an original letter. You're not using one of mine or somebody else's from last semester. It's actually your own letter. Okay, I hope that this helps. If you have any questions at all about this assignment, if you don't understand something, please let me know. I'm pretty sure in the syllabus, let me look at it right quick with you. If you open that syllabus up, okay, this is going to be on this side. Okay, I'm going to scroll down, and you can see that I have point deductions. I show you what everything is worth, every kind of error is worth. So please, I would print that out if you can. Just you can print pages 5, 6, and 7, so you can have whatever have what you need. But yeah, remember with the positive news, as far as the organization, the content, the first paragraph is going to say the problem and what you want the recipient to do for you. Don't leave them hanging. What the problem is and what this recipient can do for you. The second paragraph is going to be your logic or your reasoning for your request. You're supporting the reason for your request. And then the last paragraph is where you're going to give them your name, email address, your email address, phone number. Again, it can all be made up. And I need to hear a resolution or by a certain date. In your middle paragraph, the second paragraph, that is also a good place for you to include, for you to say, I have enclosed a copy of the receipt, or I have enclosed images of the appliance that I received already damaged in the box, whatever your problem is. You can there show that you have evidence that you did purchase the item or that you were there or whatever it is. You were at the restaurant. And then, of course, if you're wanting to write about an improvement that you would like to see at your job, then you don't have to have proof necessarily. It depends on what you're talking about. If you're saying that you currently run so many items a day on this line, but if you implemented a change that you're suggesting, then you could run this many lines, this many items, then of course you would want to show some evidence. But again, you're not really showing it. You're just telling me as your boss that you have included the activities of a certain date or whatever. Okay, if you have any questions, again, I'll let you go this time. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll be happy to help you. Please get started this week. Do not wait until next Saturday. It's not good. You need to start this week writing this paper. This is where people mess up. They may be strong in the first part, and then they come into this part and they think, it's just a little letter. I can write a little letter. That's easy. And then they end up making a bad grade. So I'm asking you to please get started this week so that you can ask me questions now. I can help you now. And then next week you have your chance to get with a tutor, to work on revisions, of course, to ask me if you have questions about formatting that you're struggling with, whatever it is. Do it now so that you're not in a bind. Not this Sunday night, but next Sunday night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.